Thank you for joining me on my masterclass. Now, today we are talking about how to teach the mind to be rich. Now, that's how to teach the mind to be rich. Now, you got to understand everything begins in the mind. That's why it said that as the mind goes, so goes the man. As the man, as the mind goes, so goes the mind. And so you see also in scripture, it says in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So it first begins internally and then you begin to see it externally. So you got to learn how to teach your mind to be rich. And it's not very difficult. It's not very difficult. It's something that you can do. And I'm going to teach you how to do it today. Now, what you have to understand is that your mind is not your master. Your mind is a slave. So you don't have to do everything that your mind tells you to do. That is indiscipline. That's indiscipline. It's not maturity. And I'm going to explain that in a few minutes. So, when I was a child, there was something that I was taught at Sunday school, and then I put it into practice. I was almost like a spiritual child. If you grew up around church circles, you'll understand that. It's a child that's a person that's very, very spiritual. Now, at Sunday school, they told us like before we do anything, before we take any decisions, before we take any we take action, or before we react or respond, we should ask ourselves this question: what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Now, as an adult, I've since found out that his name is not Jesus, it's actually Yeshua. But the same principle still holds. I still do that to myself till today. Now, I don't always pass the test, I have to confess, but it has become so ingrained in me that before I do anything, I just ask myself, what would Christ do? What would Christ do? What would Yeshua do? And then it affects me. So sometimes some people tell me, look, that's out of character with you. Well, it's because I'm trying to get the mind of Christ. So I ask myself, what would Christ do? And instead of doing what would come naturally to me, I do what would come spiritually to Christ. Now, you got to put that into practice in your financial life. And then whenever money comes into your hand, you got to ask yourself this question: how can I invest this money? How can I multiply this money? Always ask yourself that question. And at first it's not going to be easy, but then it's going to build up and you're going to become like how I am with what will Jesus do. It's just so ingrained into me that even if I want to stop doing it, I can't stop doing it because it's now such a habit. It's no longer a habit, it's a character. It's just a character. It's a destiny for me. So you ask yourself, how can I invest this money? How can I multiply this seed? And it's very important because when you start to ask yourself that question, what happens is that it alters your consciousness. It alters your consciousness because that question triggers your mind and you begin to see investable opportunities where you are not able to see them before. So those investable opportunities, your mind becomes more conscious of them because you have instructed your mind what you want your mind to deliver to you. So you ask yourself, how can I invest this money? How can I multiply this money? And then you begin to see investable opportunities. It's just like, for instance, maybe you've had a conversation with your friend about a certain kind of car, maybe a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, and then you just driving, you begin to notice that car more and more often. And then, if you do not understand how psychology works, you can begin to say, I'm now seeing these cars more often. No, you're not. It's just because that conversation that you had with your friend has triggered your brain. Your brain has released some chemicals, and so you're now becoming more conscious of those kind of cars. And so, whereas before you used to see them and you were not noticing them, now that you're seeing them, you're now noticing them. So you have to understand, we as human beings, we have senses, but sometimes, those senses, we take them for granted that, we really don't use them. I'll give you an example. Take the sense of sight. Sometimes, in fact, most times, human beings, they see, but they don't perceive. Now, it takes a heightened awareness to go from seeing to perception. So, for instance, somebody can see something and just take his eyes away. Another person who has, a higher level of consciousness can see that thing and then he perceives. He perceives. That's why scripture says in the book of Hebrews, it says that strong meat belongs to them who are of use, who are of age, strong meat belongs to them who are of age, who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern good from evil. So when you exercise your senses, when you increase your consciousness, you begin to see investable opportunities around you because you're asking yourself that question. When money comes to your hand, you say, "Ooh, how can I spend money?" You discipline yourself. You're no longer a child, so you don't. Money comes and then you want to go and buy. No, you discipline. You always ask yourself, no matter how small. So don't say to yourself, "How much can I?" That's poverty mentality. You see it with a lot of people. You say, "How much do I even have that I will invest?" And sometimes when you're teaching them, they say it with anger, as if it's your fault that they don't have a lot of money. The thing there is this: is that if you don't start investing little amounts, you're not going to invest big amounts. So you have to understand. Christ said they said that if you're not trustworthy with little, you're not going to be trustworthy with much. So you have to start with that little that you have, even if it's $5 or $1. Start investing it. Start investing it. Even if it is $10, $20, invest. Start investing. Think from there, and then that's how you grow. And you see, one of the things that you have to understand is that you have to, focus your attention where you want expansion. You got to focus your attention where you want expansion. And how do you do that? You do that by weeding out from your life friends, thoughts, and situations that make you just want to spend money. You just have to weed out from your life, friends, thoughts, and situations that make you want to spend money. So you want to focus your attention where you want expansion. I'm going to say that again. You focus your attention where you want expansion. And then how do you do that? You do that, by consuming a lot of data, and that's by reading. You do that by reading finance books, reading finance magazines. You read Forbes. Even if you can't read Forbes, you can't buy the actual physical Forbes. If you have data, you can read Forbes online for free. Forbes, they've got a free service. You don't have to subscribe. You can read the Financial Times. Financial Times, they will allow you to read, I think, about 5 free articles in a month. You read Inc. INC. It's a finance-based magazine. You read Business Insider, and then you read books. You can go on YouTube right now, and then all the best-selling books, they are on YouTube for free. Somebody else is reading them for you. So you can read Robert Kiyosaki's book. You can read Gordon Ramsay's book. Gordon Ramsay is a financial guru. He'll teach you how to make money. You can read this book. You see, you do never underestimate the power of books. See, look, how did Jeff Bezos become the richest man in the world? He became the richest man in the world by selling books. Amazon began by selling books. That's how Amazon began. I used to buy books from Amazon way back in 2005. Amazon began by selling books. How did J.K. Rowling become almost a billionaire? By writing books. How did Warren Buffett become a billionaire? He said it himself, and I've shown you on a previous video. He said by reading books. How did Bill Gates become so successful? He said it himself, and I've showed it to you on this channel. He said, and I'm going to quote him, I read, and then I ask questions where I don't understand. So you're reading books because then you're focusing your attention where you want expansion. So it's very, very important, because if you're not doing that, you're going to get to a point in life whereby your mind becomes your master. And remember, at the beginning of this video, I told you that the mind is a slave. So you don't want to do everything that your mind tells you to do. So you want to discipline your mind so that your mind gives you a heightened awareness. Otherwise, you're going to be a moody person, and a moody person cannot really become a financially successful person. And what are moods? Moods are when you allow unhealthy thoughts, negative thoughts linger longer than necessary, and then they become unhealthy. They start to produce in your brain. Your brain starts to release some kind of unhealthy chemicals, and then you see something happened to you yesterday. Somebody was nasty to you. Somebody was rude to you. Somebody treated you badly. Now, if it's up to you. That's why they say don't take offense, because offense cannot be given. It has to be taken by you. So it's up to you to just drop it, and then you focus your attention where you want expansion. So don't focus your attention on that offense, and that offense will start to linger, and then you become bitter, and better things cannot happen to bitter people. I'll say that again. Better things cannot happen to bitter people. So you put that aside, and then you focus your attention where you want expansion. You want expansion in your world. So you begin to think money is going to come into your hand today, no matter how little, whether it's $1, $2, $5, $10. $20, $25, $50, $100. Then start to ask yourself that question, how can I invest this money? How can I multiply this seed? And then your eyes will begin to open to investable opportunities around you. My name is Renan Mokri. If you watch this and you have questions arising from this, Put them in the comment section. My staff, God bless my staff. I love my staff. I love you guys. My staff are very, very good at curating comments. They bring them to me and I respond to the comments myself. But you got to be careful. I do not have a WhatsApp forum. I do not have a Telegram channel. I do not have a Gmail email address. Scammers have seen that my videos tend to go viral. And so they create fake YouTube profiles and they go to the comment section and then they begin to tell people, WhatsApp, contact me, helpline, I will guide you, Telegram channel, Gmail email address. They've duped a number of people, making them suicidal. Don't be duped. My name is Ronald Mokri again. Thank you for watching and God bless you.